happened between the check down to Emmanuel and then the last play there?
Yeah, so we tried running a double move, kind of off the play we ran right before that, and their defense, they were playing pretty soft. We didn't get the look we wanted, and so threw it to E. Was hoping we could make somebody miss, and we didn't. So obviously a moving clock situation. No timeouts left. We got to get a call in, and we had a good call on, and we just didn't execute it. I don't think everybody was on the same page with what needed to happen, and it's something that we got to fix. We got to clean up and be better because it was ended up being really, really close with only 1 second left.
So coming out of the timeout, you guys had 2 plays called in case someone did go down in bounds, basically. The timeout after the screen to Golden, Matt gave you 2 plays.
After the screen to Golden?
Yeah, then Matt called the timeout, and then are you saying you guys had 2 plays?
No, we got to a running clock call. One of our just on the ball calls where everybody was just figuring it out on the move.
Were you conscious, or how conscious were you of that clock ticking down at that?
Yeah, no, I was conscious of it. Matt was in my ear saying ozone. We knew before that it was going to be an ozone situation if we did get tackled in bounds. So, it's one of those situations where it took us the operation right there. It just took too long. We were wasting too much time right there, and that's really it.
Yeah. How would you evaluate the way you guys managed that overtime drive?
Yeah, I think we moved the ball. That's what you want to do. You move the ball well. I think I think the sad part is we didn't be able to take any shots right there to the end zone until that last play, which is tough. I think we had a good play called, and they, didn't play the way we thought they were going to play like they did the play before that. So, I think there's a lot of stuff that we still have to clean up, just throwing the ball in bounds in a running clock situation right there. So there's stuff that we got to figure out and be better at right there in that situation.
You have 1 second left on that final field goal. Any part in your mind is it better just want to say screw the tie and take one more shot at the end zone there?
I don't know. I wasn't really thinking that.
You had 40 points tonight, and it's the first tie of your career. I imagine if I told you coming in you'd have 40 points, you would have thought it'd be a tie, obviously. How does it feel to not win or lose? What's going through your mind?
No, it sucks. It doesn't feel good. It feels kind of weird. It's my first time going through a tie. It feels weird to, play a full game and end in a tie. So it's definitely tough. Like you said, I think offensively we did some good things. I still think we left a lot out there. I still think there's some drives that we didn't execute well. I think obviously the end of half situation, turning the ball over and putting them in a scoring position. So I think there's a lot of stuff we left out there, but as an offense, to be able to keep battling, keep answering, and to stay in that game with some obviously to be able to go down, kick the field goal to tie it up and go to overtime. But I still think there's so much more out there that we just got to keep executing.
Ideally, what happens on the screen to Golden? Are you hoping he just gets 7 yards and gets out of bounds, or is there anything in particular there? And is that the call? You go into that no matter what.
Yeah, it was a run-pass option, so we can either run it or throw it, and we missed the block. We didn't get the block on the corner. He made a good play, and so he tackled us short. We've run that play a couple times throughout the night and executed it better, blocked it better, and were able to get good gains. So we just didn't execute it right there.
Sorry, when you say ozone, is that just everyone go to the end zone or you throw it out of bounds?
Ozone is out of bounds or in the end zone. So obviously running clock, you don't want to get tackled in bounds and have the clock. You don't have timeouts, so it's got to be out of bounds or in the end zone.
What do you think of just the decision to try and be aggressive there at the end of the first half? And I'm not saying there's something you could have done differently, but you guys had no timeouts. I think 21 seconds left on your own 25. How confident were you that you could get into field goal range?
Man, I like it. I always like being aggressive. I think if we hit a big chunk right there, we'd have time to get up and clock it and get in field goal range. And I think we had a couple ops. I think some of the plays we ran, we had one to Rome I missed, but we had a couple, chances to get some big plays, and it's just unfortunate that it happened the way it did. Like I've said before, they're good as well. They made a really good play right there, being able to get a strip sack. But I would never say that. I just want to take it to the half right there. I think if we got time, definitely try and be aggressive right there and finish with a kick or something.
Did you like the feeling of going second in overtime, and what is that like when you're waiting for your turn?
Yeah, no, I did like the decision to go second. You know, I think you want to see kind of what their offense can do, and then go out there and match that. You know, if they don't score, we just need a field goal to win it. So, yeah.
To one last play, did you get the defense you were looking for, and was it more your guys weren't as precise? Or?
Say that again, sorry.
I thought the last play, did you get the defense you were expecting for that play, and then was it just were things just a little bit off on it?
No, that's a play where you know you don't really know what defense you're going to get right there. You're just trying to get it on the ball, call as fast as possible, get on the ball, and get everybody to the end zone and take a shot right there. And so, you know, you don't know what they're going to run right there. They ended up going Tampa 2, and we got a shot to the end zone, and we just didn't hit on it. So, yeah.
Jordan, when Micah was in here, he was talking about, he told you that defense didn't hold up their part, but how do you think Micah handled this whole week in this game and a big play in overtime that kept them from scoring a touchdown?
Yeah, no, I think I think Micah is a pro. You know, I think he shows up every day, competes at a very high level. He's the same player in practice that he is on game day, and so I think obviously for him, there's probably a lot of motion coming back here, and I want to have a great game. And like you said, he made a big time play right there, and when they were close to the end zone. So. You know, it's tough. You know, obviously we want to go out there and win this game, and you know, you battle a game like this, you don't want to end it in a tie.
Jordan, last week and this week, you guys keep saying, you know, we're not playing up to our standard. Obviously, when you don't win, you know, the standard is to win. What do you feel like specifically needs to be corrected in the bye week to reach whatever standard you guys?
Yeah, I still think there's just little small details, you know, on a handful of plays, and we'll go back and watch it on film, but there's just those small details where, you know, in the grand scheme of a game, those are the things that, you know, it comes down to. Those things that can win you a game or lose you a game. And I think there's just a lot of stuff that we still got to clean up. And there's still, obviously, you know, pre-snap penalties, things like that, which we got to clean up the operation. But there's just little details on a handful of plays where, you know, we just gotta lock in and focus on every drive. So it'll be good stuff to go and watch on film. But like I said, you know, there's been a handful of plays throughout the beginning of the season.
You guys were riding quite a high with how those first 2 weeks went. Haven't won since. Has anything the past couple weeks led you to have any doubt about what this team is ready to be and can be this season?
No, not at all. You know, I think like you said, we've shown what we're about when we're playing very well, and we just got to do that. We got to be consistent every day, whether it's practice, games. You know, every time we touch the field, we got to be consistent. Like I said, there's just a lot of little areas that if we clean up and execute at a better clip, you know, we'll be the team we want to be. So I have no doubt in that. I know we're still a really good team, but it comes down to on Sundays coming out here and performing, executing at a high level. And so, yeah, there is some disappointment in these past 2 weeks, but there's still a lot of stuff to clean up. And you know, we still got a long season ahead of us, and I still know what type of team we are.
On the 4th and 7 in overtime, and you hit MG over the middle. Discuss that play. What was that play? And then, is it after you cross the 50, you kind of go into a two-man offense, or two-man drill to get down the goal line?
Yeah, you know, 4th down. You know, we had a pretty good play dialed up for what defense they were running. We were working MG in the middle. He was running a kind of a read route and was able to get the Mike running and opened up a hole right there for himself. So that play, you know, I think was executed really well and a got to have it situation right there. So then, like you said, yeah, after that, you know, it does turn into that kind of 2 minute. You only got one timeout, so we got to go. We got to go and you know, take some shots to the end zone.